दोनों भी ना, सेम चॉइस, LIC।
LIC ट्रेंडिंग विद टाइम्स, 62 सालों से हर जनरेशन की पसंद।
Hello and welcome. You're watching Ask PQ on Bloomberg and I am Jadhav.
And I'm Alex Matthew. Well, if you've got questions on equity, you know that this is the perfect show for you. You can send those queries to us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube and WhatsApp. You can also call us on 022-4540-4141. Alternatively, you can mail us on askpq@bloombergquint.com. Just make sure to add the AskPQ hashtag. We'll put a pause on the questions for just a bit though.
Right. So it's Bharat Financial that we are going to look at on the earnings front. The stock is trading a little weaker despite reporting a strong set of numbers for the September ended quarter. I caught up with the management earlier to get a fine print of the earnings for the quarter gone by and started by asking about the microfinance lenders' disbursements. Listen in.
Taken into account the trend, and we should be slightly higher than whatever we have guided for in terms of disbursement. So guidance remains intact, and I think we are in line achieving that guidance.
All right. So the exposure to Kerala is at about 5 to 6%. Have you seen any delinquencies there or delays in collections of the flood-affected areas? Have you made use of any dispensations? And what is the impact that you booked in Q3, or should we see some impact being booked in the future quarters?
Typically, we have seen this happening in the floods in most of the geographies wherever we have seen floods. This is what happens. People actually relocate to different locations, and the center meetings are not possible for 2 to 3 weeks. As the water recedes, then slowly we'll start having center meetings. So we did see a spike in overdue portfolio, but as we now started conducting center meetings, things are getting back to normal, and as we speak, we are seeing on a week-on-week basis, if I look at it, we are seeing we have around 99% collection efficiency. So this is something that will get addressed maybe in a couple of months from here. And in terms of NPLs and the impact, we have about 20 crores which has moved into greater than 30 days, and it is staying there, and we have provided against it whatever is required as per the ECL norms.
All right. So in terms of your ALM, I believe there is a positive gap between the assets and the liabilities which are maturing till March 2019. The question is, have NBFCs been reluctant to lend to microfinance companies in the last 4 weeks, or has the risk averseness to lending, actually reduced at least over the past 4 weeks?
If you look at our borrowings primarily come from the banks and in form of term loans, securitization and assignment transactions, and reliance on capital market transactions or NBFCs has been very, very minimal. Presently we have no loans under the capital market instruments as such. For us, the ALM being positive definitely kind of helps. Not just that, being NBFC, MFI, every loan that we originate, qualifies for the PSL status. That also helps. Our track record has been very strong. We have very strong balance sheet as well, 30% plus kind of capital adequacy. These are the factors which are playing out, and for us the liquidity crunch or the pressure has not been much. Yeah, I'm not saying that industry is not going through a crunch, but for the company, I'm saying it is comfortable position as of now.
All right. So your cost to income ratio has been steadily coming down to about 40% now. Is there room for an further improvement in your operational efficiencies?
Definitely operational efficiencies will continue to play out, because the way we're looking at is the portfolio growth should be maintained anywhere between 45 to 50% going forward, and our cost should increase in twins of about 25%, between 25 to 30%. So you would see more efficiencies playing out in at least next 2 years, continue to play out for next 2 years. And the other metric that we should look at is the borrowers being handled by one Sangam manager. That's also steadily going up, should go to 750 levels, which is what we are targeting.
Fair enough. Sir, historically around the election time, how does the customer behavior and also the NPA trends really change?
Historically, if you look at just elections on a standalone basis, we have not seen any impact as such. Elections just around the time of demonetization was a challenge. But definitely just standalone elections we have seen. Subsequently also we have seen elections in some of the states, large states in fact, and we have not seen any issues. Karnataka was one such state that I recall. And we don't see just elections, creating any disruption in our business.
All right. And sir, is there any timeline for the merger with IndusInd Bank to get completed and start reflecting? And also, what are the kind of expected synergies from the merger? Have you all worked out any initial numbers?
So in terms of timelines, we have in the last leg filed with NCLT, and mostly next couple of months we should see that the NCLT will call for the shareholders meeting. In terms of efficiencies or synergies, there are few which are very straightforward. Bank's cost of funds obviously is lower than ours, and if you see, we are not offering liabilities to our customers. That's a clear upside which is available for the business as such. So these two things are very straightforward. We have not put any numbers out there, but often I can tell you these are the two clear things. There are many other synergies which are possible, but yeah, we have to sit together and do that math, and at appropriate time we will definitely come out with full detailed numbers around this.
Right, so that was the management of Bharat Financial guiding for growth to remain intact even for the rest of the financial year, but the stock is trading about 1.5% weaker. A quick look at how the Indian markets are faring before we can move on to individual queries. In line with the sell-off that we've seen in the global markets, the Indian benchmark indices are also seeing cuts of about 1% or so. We also have expiry today, remember. Nifty has slipped below the 10,100 mark. It is trading close to that number. The Sensex has lost about 400 points now. Similar trend seen in the Bank Nifty as well. Reliance, HDFC and ICICI Bank are the top laggards. Shopper losses, however, is what we're seeing for the mid-cap and the small-cap indices. Both have taken a knock of about 2% or so. And in fact, barring IT, all sectoral indices are trading in the red. Amongst individual names, you have MCX, where the shares have declined 13% with 14% in fact now, with port options surging. L&D Finance fell as much as 12%, making it the second biggest loser on Nifty 500. It has pared some losses though, but this was after it reported exposure to IL&FS Infra unit. Lakshmi Vilas Bank, Hexavatech amongst the other top losers, both reacting to earnings, about 6-7% taken off for both of them. On the other hand, bucking the trend are SKF India. That's probably to do with the buyback price. SJVN is trading stronger on huge volumes, and SML Isuzu is also seeing gains of about 4%. But the market breadth remains weak with the advanced decline ratio at 1:4.
All right. Well, that's the perspective on how the markets look at the moment. Our two experts of the day are Ashish Kelkar of Kiran, Jadhav and Associates, and we also have Sandeep Jain, who will join in just a short while. And while he does, in fact, let's start with some of the shorter term queries. I believe some of you have already put your queries out on the short term. Zamir, I'm going to start with your query today. You're asking for a very short-term target for Ashok Leyland, which has been under pressure in recent times, of course. Ashish, it's currently trading, in fact, weaker than it was yesterday, 3.4% or thereabouts down at about 113. What are the very short-term targets that you would look at for this stock?
Good afternoon, Alex. If we look at the Ashok Leyland chart, it's completely in the hands of bears, and I am expecting a further fall in this particular counter. My first target is extreme short-term target is 110. Currently, it is trading at 112.8. If 110 is taken off, then a further downside would open, and next target would be around 106 to 104. So if someone wants to go short, then this is the right time to go short. If the person who has asked this query has a long position, I would recommend him to exit immediately.
All right, we have a live caller. Prajwal Uchil is calling us from Mangalore. Thank you for joining us, Prajwal. What's your query?
Hi, Shraddha. Shraddha, I would like to know whether Grasim is a good bet to buy in.
All right, we'll give you a technical view. Ashish, how is it looking on the charts? Is a fresh entry suggested at the current levels?
I'm sorry, I was not able to hear the stock name.
Grasim. It's currently trading
Grasim.
at about, if you can pull up the stock price, 790, down about 2.5% right now.
Correct. No, this is not the right time to enter into this particular counter, because it has given us a breakout of descending triangle pattern formation when it was trading at around 840.45, and the target at that point in time was around 875. So, 775. Currently, it is trading at 790. So, further downfall is expected in this particular counter. I would recommend not to buy as of now. Let the price go to 775. If we have a trend reversal pattern at 775 to 770, at that point, someone should take a review and then enter into this particular counter.
No, I'm assuming, Ashish, that there will be several counters like this that have seen significant correction, and people are wondering whether or not to enter. One such company, I think, will be Canfin Homes. We've got Shivani Dhanuka asking whether she can buy at the current level, which is 250 or thereabouts for the next 1 to 2 months. It has corrected about 46% in the year-to-date period.
Yes, Kelvin Home is a stock where a trend reversal pattern is forming, but I am expecting a breakout on this particular counter only when the price goes above 265. Currently, it is trading at 253, and in the last 2 trading sessions, we have seen a very good pullback rally in this particular counter. If the price goes above 265, then definitely there will be a trend reversal pattern breakout, and at that point in time, one should go ahead and invest. And it's another 12 rupees. It has to go up around 6% from here, but that will be the right point to invest in this particular counter.
Okay, Ashish, the next question is on MCX. If you can pull up the charts, it comes from Siddharth Rawat, who has shorted 10 lots at 820. His question is, should he cover it now? How is it looking on an intraday move basis?
He has taken a short position at a very correct price. From there, it has corrected to around 700 rupees. Yes, definitely there is a further downside expected, and the first target would be at around 690, and the second target would be 685. As he has shorted 10 lots, I would recommend him to book 5 lots right now, and then wait for another 5 lots to cover at around 690, 685 levels.
Well, Siddharth, from the look on Ashish's face, I could tell that he thinks that you've made quite the killing. But I think we've got Sandeep Jain in. So thanks so much, Sandeep, for joining us. I'm going to take this query to you. We've got Alex Morgan, my namesake, not related to me at all, I promise. He's asking a question on Maruti Suzuki. His dad has got 5,200 shares, I believe, of Maruti Suzuki at an acquisition price, Sandeep, of 320. So he's bought a long time back, and he's been holding for quite a while. I think it's a pertinent question because of the kind of correction that we've seen in Maruti Suzuki over the past few weeks or so, where it's corrected from 10,000 levels. What should the strategy be? Should he continue holding?
Yeah, certainly he should continue holding the share. Certainly he has seen a very big ride. In fact, the time the IPO came, I think it was 2003, first quarter of 2003, and from there onwards it has become a big time multi-bagger. And I think now, since it has corrected from 10,000, 9,999, I think was the highest. or maybe it has crossed 10,000, I don't remember. But then from there, since it has corrected around 30%, so it is not advisable and wise also to book the profit. So all he has to do is he should wait and watch, and I think he can do some averaging also if at all he wants to invest some money in the market. So I find Maruti to be very attractive at these valuations since the market conditions or since the market sentiments are not good. So all these stocks are getting corrected. But then looking at the rural consumption in India, the growth in the economy and all those factors are still intact. It's not that things are going bad. So, he has to wait, and he should think of averaging also at somewhere around 6,000 levels, 5,800, 6,000 levels. That can be a very good level to average Maruti.
Okay, Maruti continues to remain an attractive bet in that space. All right. The next question comes from Siva Kumar. Sandeep, this one's for you. Continuing with the auto theme, he's looking for a mid-cap stock to buy in the auto ancillary space, especially or specifically the CV auto ancillary companies. He has a long-term view. So, your top pick in that space.
Bullish on the whole auto ancillary pattern. In fact, there were couple of stocks which we identified in 2013 August to December, and they have really become multi-baggers, and still, they are at good levels from those levels. But now, from the top, they have really corrected. So one CV space auto ancillary pick will be Damani Auto. Somehow I'm quite bullish on this stock. The fundamentals are quite attractive, and the stock has also corrected a bit. So I think, he can enter into this stock. Then we are looking at Munjal Auto. Again, it has corrected. And then, as I talked about Maruti, somehow the same opinion stands good for, Hero MotoCorp also. So Munjal Auto, Munjal Showa, both are these picks which I'm looking at. And then certainly Damani Auto. So, and Rico Auto. These are some of the picks which we are looking at in the auto ancillary space. Yeah.
Okay, we've got Manikandan, who's written to us on Facebook. He's bought Sun TV on the way down, seemingly. So let's pull up the last 3 months or thereabouts. If we can pull up the chart and see what it's trading. It's currently trading at 623 or thereabouts. I believe he bought at 685 levels. So you can see that it's down about 18.6%. He's asking if he should book losses. Ashish, what's the call here on the charts? Is there any indication that there could be an uptrend?
Alex, there is no indication of an uptrend in this particular counter. It is continuously making lower tops and lower bottoms. If this particular counter goes below 600, then the next target would be 540. So another fall is expected. So I would definitely recommend the investor to get out of the stock immediately.
Ashish, Krish wants to know at what price he could average Cadila Health. His average buy price is about 400 rupees. So some key levels for him to watch out for.
See, currently it is trading at very strong support because 335 to 330 is very important level for this counter. It has tested this level 335 around 4 times in the last 2.5 months, and whenever it comes to around 335, then it is bouncing back. Currently it is trading at around 340 levels. So yes, this is the right time to average out, but important level or the stop loss that I would recommend him should be 330 on a weekly closing basis. Please ask this investor to mind my words very clearly. 330, if the price closes below this level on a weekly closing basis, then the next target would be for this counter is around 285. So 330 should be the stop loss, and then buy the quantity as of now.
Very, very clear message there for you, Krish. I believe you are Subhash, so thanks so much for joining us. You're one of our loyal viewers. All right, let's start with the query Chetan Tayil sent right at the top there. He's asking about a couple of retail players, future retail, and also Godrej consumer products. You're asking whether you can buy at the current level if you have a view of about 2 years or thereabouts. I remember, Sandeep, that there are a few people that we've spoken to have said that Godrej consumer is a good buy. What's your view about these two counters?
Somehow, regarding future retail, I'm not very bullish. And in fact, the way the stock performed in the last quarter of the last year, and from there onwards, I think the valuations are not all that cheap. And at these levels and the kind of market sentiments we are going through, I don't think, one should take a risk of investing in these expensive stocks. one should certainly look at larger caps and which are actually available at reasonable valuations also. I talked about Maruti, I talked about Hero MotoCorp, I'll be bullish on ITC. So these are some preferred stocks available at very good prices. So I think we should avoid retail stocks at these valuations, and even Godrej Consumer Product is also a bit expensive, though the quality of the stock is very good, but then the valuations are not reasonable. So, I think I might go with Godrej Industries rather, but that too also on declines when the panic happens in the market. There are times, when you will get all these stocks at 10 to 15% cheaper than what they are available today at.
All right. The next question is for you, Ashish. What should be the strategy for Mahanagar Gas if you have a 1 month view?
If we look at Mahanagar Gas overall chart structure, it is trading in a consolidation zone, and my view is sideways. Till the time the stock does not go above 820, then there will not be any bullish sign on the chart. And on the lower side, if the stock remains above 785, if the price goes below 785, then only there will be a bearishness in this particular counter. So if someone has the stock, he or she should hold on to the stock with a 6 stop loss of 782. If someone wants to buy, this is not the right time to buy and enter into this counter as of now. Buy only above 820, and if someone is holding, 6 stop loss 782.
All right. I'm going to say right at the start that I do not, I'm not particular in terms of picking Ramesh's query because he's a Guna, because I'm not actually an Arsenal fan. I just had to tell you that, Ramesh. But I'm going to take your query anyway. Motherson Sumi, at current market price for the long term, is it a good buy, Sandeep?
Now, as I talked about the ancillary space, and I also talked about, stocks available at reasonable valuations, but these stocks are actually expensive. And now, since they were all the darlings of the FIIs, and FIIs are actually selling, so, they might fall prey to the profit booking of the FIIs, and already they have corrected a bit. So I feel that, one should avoid buying afresh. Those who are holding it, they can keep on holding the stock since the quality is excellent, but then they have the issues in, Europe, which is cropping up from time to time. So I feel one shouldn't buy afresh. We should, in fact, look at the stocks which I talked about a bit back. Like Munjal Auto, Munjal Showa, they are available at very reasonable valuations, and they have also corrected, and Rico Auto, Jamna Auto. So, but all these stocks have to be bought in staggered manner on declines because the market sentiments are not all that great to buy aggressively and afresh.
Right. The next question is also for you, Sandeep, specifically, and it comes from Bhavesh Jain. He wants a view on Manappuram Finance. These are not just, Manappuram, Muthoot are not just pure play gold financiers anymore. They've also ventured into housing finance. But do you like these companies?
Somehow I really like the company. I used to recommend this company a lot, and I've been recommending this stock from the levels of 20 rupees, and from there it has went up to say 150 levels also, and it's become a big multi-bagger. But then now, since the NBFCs have the issues of liquidity and the refinance issues are cropping up in the industry, but then these three companies, Muthoot Capital, Muthoot Finance, and Manappuram, they are like gold-based companies. They have their major chunk in the gold loans, but then recently, they have also diversified to, the other segments like home loans and LAP and two-wheelers and everything. But again, Manappuram has got a huge franchise. It has got a huge branch network, and the rate of growing, the growth rate was excellent. In fact, it was growing at more than 100% per annum. But then now, since the things are very different regarding that liquidity issue, and all these companies have actually stopped expanding their network also, and they have started, curtailing their expenses. They have started, curtailing their staff strength also. So I feel one should be cautious in buying afresh. Those who are holding it, they can keep on holding Manappuram Finance.
All right. On that note, gentlemen, we are launching into rapid fire round, which, as you know, is where we try and scrunch as many questions as possible into 2 minutes. Do keep your answers as short as possible. We've got the first one for you, Sandeep. I think Mayank Saraf is a very long-term investor. He's holding Maharashtra Scooters at levels of 670, and he's holding Kalyani Investment at 1,200. He's expecting that he can hold for the next 5 years or thereabouts. Should he hold on?
Maharashtra Scooters has got a good stake in Bajaj Group companies, and then Kalyani is also a Kalyani Group holding company. So I feel, he has to hold on these companies. Holding companies generally tend to take a longer time to give returns, but then since they are available at huge discounts to their value of investment, so I think they are a no-brainer holding to be held here.
Sandeep, what's the outlook for IT staffing services companies like Questcorp?
I think somehow Questcorp again has very stiff valuations. They are expensive companies, but then I used to like this company, but now since the market sentiments are different, so at these levels somehow I will not recommend someone to buy afresh since the valuations are expensive. So I would rather recommend cheaper valuation companies since the market has corrected a lot. So there are lots of other options. So now buying afresh is not recommended. Those who are holding it, they can hold on. Yeah.
Right. Ashish, what's the view on Mahanagar Gas with a 1 month perspective? We've got Raj Shah, who's bought, I think, 1,500 shares.
As earlier, we have already discussed, hold on as of now. A strict stop loss should be at around 785. If you want to buy more, you can buy above 820.
Sandeep, do you have a coverage on Varroc Engineering? This stock has come off sharply from its IPO price. What should one do?
Yeah, I am covering the stock, and somehow I like the management also. And in fact, it is one of the best companies, in fact, a world-class company. And since, again, the markets are correcting, so, none of these stocks can resist the storm. So I think, one should keep on holding the stock, both Endurance Technologies and Varroc. I generally talk about both the companies together only since they are owned by the brothers only.
Right,
and
Sandeep.
somehow I feel that, auto ancillary stocks will do well. And since it is also an expensive stock in the auto ancillary space, so might be it is correcting more. But then since I've talked about some cheaper stocks, one can look at those cheaper valuation stocks also in this space. Yeah.
Right. Sandeep, very, very quickly, yes or no answer. Would you buy into graphite manufacturers right now?
No.
Okay. But on that note.
All right, yes, those were as many queries as we could have taken today, but thank you very much, Ashish and Sandeep, both of you all, for helping our viewers with all the queries. That's all that we have on this edition of Ask PQ.
But do remember, as always, we're just a tweet, post, or call away, so do keep your queries coming, and we promise to address as many of them as possible on our show. You can log on to the website bloombergquint.com and search for the hashtag AskPQ and get answers to all the queries that was discussed today. Up next on Bloomberg Quint is Power Lunch.
Good news, got a promotion and a damn good raise.
Congrats,